And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen.
What up, now?
Everybody, I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
We give the people what they want.
So by now, we've all seen the footage that Dame Dash released of him confronting Lee Daniels at, of all places, a Diana Ross concert at the Hollywood Bowl.
I will
Basically,
survive.
Dame is like, I gave you $2 million, and you just stopped paying me back. Jalen, I have so many questions about this. But originally, the $2 million payment was basically an investment into a Richard Pryor biopic that never happened because Daniels backed out of the project, and he just never paid Dame back. Based on the body language in the video that I saw, it looks like Lee Daniels owes Dame Dash $2 million and didn't seem that concerned about it. What was your read on it?
My read on it was exactly like yours, and I was truly disappointed to see two individuals that I respect so very much. And Lee Daniels has done some amazing work, and I'm a fan of a lot of his projects. But I remember when the Richard Pryor project was being shot, and I was actually excited about seeing it. And I was disappointed, A, when it didn't happen. B, when somebody loans you $2 million and or invests in your project and it does not take place. And then in theory, you go on not to be down and out, but to get more projects, including Precious and other projects that he currently has on television. It's just sloppy and disrespectful when you can't run me my bread when, if the stories are accurate at this point of his career, it seems like Dame could use that boost. By the way, we all can use a $2 million boost.
Yeah.
And it's just baffling that he got to sue him twice to try to get his money once.
Well, here's the thing, is to me, if somebody owes me $2 million, I want them to seem much more concerned about it than Lee Daniels did. He had like a blanket on. He was so calm. It's just like, I need profuse apologies. I need guarantees. I need lawyers' numbers. Like, if you owe, I couldn't walk this earth owing someone $2 million, but if I did and they confronted me, I would act with a lot more passion than Lee Daniels did. That's all I have to say. He acted like it was light work. Like it was like a shirt he borrowed they need to get back to him. We'll see what happens with this one, but something tells me Dame's about to get his bread back. Jalen, let's give the people what they want. Irving Magic Johnson is trying to give the people of Los Angeles what they want.
Buck.
Obviously, this is a big free agent summer for him and the Lakers, but he's not sweating it. Here's Irving on the free agency summer.
No pressure on me. I mean, I'm gonna do my job. I've always done that. Look, I've been playing in, you know how many finals I've been in? So you think I'm worried about this? I played against Larry Bird in the finals. I mean, come on, man. I'm Magic Johnson. I'm still the same dude. I'm not gonna change. There's no pressure on me. I'm gonna do my job.
No pressure on Magic Johnson. What do those words tell you about the Lakers, Mr. Rose?
Well, those words tell me that he understands that he was brought there for credibility, for leadership, and to put them in a position to gain two superstars on their roster. So when you stick a microphone in my face before free agency starts, what do you expect one of the all-time great players and people, Hall of Fame moguls, to actually say? I'm scared. I'm running from the moment. I don't think I have what it takes to get it done when it matters the most. Of course he's going to have the utmost confidence. And it was great to see he and my former teammate Rob Pelinka laugh off those claims.
Well, he also said something else and did something else that I would never do. You know, I always like to keep the expectations as low as possible. Well, he not only raised the expectations for the next 2 years for the Lakers free agency summers, but he gave himself an ultimatum. Let's listen.
this class, like I told you before I took the job and when I took the job, it's going to be a 2-summer thing for the Lakers. This summer and next summer. And that's it. And then if I can't deliver, I'm going to step down myself. She won't have to fire me. I'll step away from it, because then I can't do this job.
You know you're rich when you start saying you'll fire yourself from a job. You know you're wealthy. You know you have money when you're like, you know what, I'll just step aside. I wouldn't even need to be fired. Why is he giving himself this ultimatum?
Well, he did a really good job of kind of shifting the narrative, which is actually a vet move that a lot of people haven't paid attention to. Because when the Lakers opened up salary cap space, he came out and said he has what it takes to sign 2 superstars. But when you look at the landscape of this offseason, who would that be that you can say that categorizes themselves as a max caliber player that's actually worth the money? LeBron James, Paul George control their own destiny. Kawhi Leonard does not control his own destiny. And to me, Boogie Cousins, who's injured and will go into next year injured, is a wild card. So now you say, instead of only doing it in 2018, because I might not be able to make it happen this summer, since Kawhi doesn't control his destiny, as I acknowledge, you say, I'm giving myself 2018 or 19 because you now unlocked the 2019 class that features players like Karl Anthony Towns, Klay Thompson, who I think is going to stay with the Warriors, Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker. There's so many people in that class. As I look at the list, I'm like, Kyrie Irving, I'm him. So therefore, in these 2 classes, I do think he will be able to achieve getting 2 high-level talented players to come play in L.A.
He's going to get someone to come in L.A., but when we once dreamed that it was going to be Paul George and LeBron and Kawhi all teaming up in the purple and gold, that dream just doesn't feel like it's going to become a reality. And one of the reasons that we sort of led to believe that something big was going to happen this offseason for the Lakers this summer was Jeannie Buss. Do you remember this tweet? She was in New York and she tweeted, "Don't ever underestimate. Nothing else to say." Well, she now explained the tweet, and she said she actually was going to tweet, "Don't ever underestimate the power of leather pants for traveling because they don't wrinkle." Again, she said that the tweet was actually about leather pants. Well, Jalen, I also enjoy leather pants from time to time. They really don't wrinkle at all, as you can see right there. But Mr. Rose, do you believe that Jeannie Buss was actually tweeting about leather pants when she sent that tweet?
It's hard to debate somebody's opinion and what they shoulda, woulda, coulda have done. But in this instance, I don't believe that to be the case. When you are the owner of a team and news is flying rapidly about what may happen with your squad, and then there are people questioning whether you're going to be able to get people in the purple and gold, because you can't have purple and gold without the PG.
That's right.
As the great American David Jacoby would say. So therefore, you now want to let your fans know that we're into this. We're on top of this. And so now that we're asking questions a little bit deeper, and she may or may not feel that they're going to be able to achieve that this offseason, maybe she's pumping the brakes just a little bit on that enthusiasm for 2018.
It does feel like that's generally the tone around the Lakers right now, is let's not get everyone too excited about us signing 2 superstars this offseason and making a run. Like, let's just temper expectations a little bit and give ourselves a 2-year window. Jalen, the staff, as we prepare for the show, something you never do, we decided we were going to ask you if you had leather pants, but instead we decided the question was more, how many pairs of leather pants do you own?
I own 0 leather pants. When wintertime comes, however, I will get a pair or 2 that fit baggy, not tight, by the way. I'll never be the dude that got to jump up and down to put his pants on or have to lay on the bed to put his pants on. But I will say that is a look that I can pull off. Stay tuned.
Based on the looks of you now, you could probably pull anything off. Well, it's the offseason, so of course it's time for unfounded, irresponsible speculation about free agent LeBron James. We have an update. Brian Windhorst joined Zach Lowe.
What's your over-under on when LeBron makes his decision?
Everybody will be on holiday on July 4th. It'll be over by July.
Well, my over, I'm setting it at July 11 and a half.
Nope.
You think under?
I think way under.
Really? You think it's going to come fast?
I do.
Windy knows things about LeBron, and he says that LeBron will make his decision by July 4th. What does that tell you, Mr. Rose?
What it tells me is the longer this takes, the longer he's able to help a team craft a roster around him that's going to legitimize itself to be a contending team. Yes, he's the best player in the game, but we saw in this year's finals he's going to need a supporting cast if the goal is to win a championship next year. So what Bryant is alluding to is it doesn't help his cause to wait. He might as well let the world know and then let the dominoes fall where they may. And I like that timeline, and I wouldn't be surprised if it takes place under that umbrella.
So it's your understanding that wherever LeBron James decides to go, he's going to do so early to allow that front office to maneuver during the summer to change the roster to suit him to best make a championship run. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Because, again, when you have a player of the magnitude of LeBron James, it's a big-time deal either if he stays in Cleveland or clearly if he goes elsewhere. They are going to need time to craft a situation that's suitable for success. Waiting longer to make the decision does not help that process.
And if you remember last time he announced the decision, he did so through Sports Illustrated. He talked about the new teammates that he was going to have in Cleveland, and he omitted number 1 draft pick Andrew Wiggins. I have a feeling that this time he's not going to mention any potential teammates because everybody's going to be on the table to get moved throughout the free season. Jalen Rose last night, Woj did what Woj does, dropped a bomb, and told the world that the Clippers, with a head coach named Doc Rivers, have traded their shooting guard named Austin Rivers, Doc Rivers' son, to the Washington Wizards for Marcin Gortat. Jalen, what does this move tell you about the future of both franchises?
Oh, there's a few things for me to unpack. And I know this is getting pinned towards Doc, but look at the dominoes as they have taken place. Once his GM/president responsibilities were taken away from him, now that's Jerry West, the advisor, and Lawrence Frank. Ultimately, it's not, quote-unquote, Doc trading his son. However, what did happen is that he revitalized his career to the point where now he has longevity in the league, shown he can play, and now he's under contract. A really good one once he gets traded to Washington. Also, what does this mean for both teams? For me, that DeAndre Jordan's future is not with the Clippers. Also, when they retained Doc, it was so that he can have an ear to the ground because he has a history with the Spurs, and they're hoping that there's a level of relationship amongst the fact that he's a really good coach, that may help woo free agents and or superstars like one Kawhi Leonard. And lastly, the thing I want to point to as it relates to the Washington Wizards. You knew Marcin Gortat was gone when he didn't see eye to eye with John Wall. However, now that the Washington Wizards are needing a center, I'll just throw something out there on the table for the world to think about. It would be nice to see John Wall and Boogie Cousins reunite in D.C. I know he's coming off an injury, but that could be something to watch for as these proceedings play out over the summer.
Nerlens Noel also comes to mind as someone who might end up in the DMV area. But when you spoke about DeAndre Jordan and his future, you weren't alone. Mark Stein, now of the New York Times, tweeted this about DJ. He said, quote, among the various options DeAndre Jordan has been weighing, according to league sources, is opting into the final year of his current contract at $24 million before Friday's midnight deadline to facilitate a trade with Dallas, sources say, among the teams interested. Mark Stein kind of walked that back a little bit later in a later tweet, but it's very interesting because if you look at the Dallas projected starting lineup, were they to add DeAndre Jordan, you've got Dennis Smith, Luka Doncic, Harrison Barnes, Dirk Nowitzki, or Wesley Matthews, and DeAndre Jordan. That doesn't look like a tanking team, Mr. Rose. Look at that roster. Is that a playoff team?
I don't think it's a playoff team because while being a future Hall of Famer and an all-time great, Dirk is not at the point of his career where he can be playing 82 games at quality minutes and give you a level of productivity that we're used to seeing in the past. I think he more resembles a guy that can be a heat check type of player, make big shots for you, but when you elongate his minutes, he's going to resemble the guy that's running backwards on D and tripping over the line. That's just how it's going to be at this point of his career. And Luka Doncic is a rookie. Dennis Smith Jr. is in his second year. You're going to need time for those guys to nurture. They have a terrific coach on the sideline in Rick Carlisle. And Harrison Barnes showed that he could be a really productive wing player. And adding DeAndre Jordan is going to give him some athleticism, some height, some ability to grab boards and change ends of the floor. But in the Western Conference, where teams like the Denver Nuggets were on the outside looking in, and they just drafted Michael Porter Jr. in the first round, I would think that this team still will be lottery bound based on the lineup you just showed me.
So, Jalen, one thing that we always do as media members, I want to ask you about. We always associate players with their hometown team. Do you remember when Kevin Durant was a free agent? We talked about him going to the Wizards. We're now talking about Kawhi going back to Southern California. We're talking about DeAndre Jordan for the second time going to Dallas. Why do we always do this? Why do we always assume that players want to play for their hometown team?
Because the media sometimes overlooks the fact that people aren't chasing a couple of things. One, the large market. C, Clippers, Lakers, Nets, Knicks, and their hometown team. And I'll use California, for example. There are multiple players that are all-star caliber that have become free agents, and for whatever reasons, they didn't go play in their hometown. James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, they come to mind. Russell Westbrook, he's from the West Coast in Cali. He didn't go back home to play. So that's something that kind of gets overlooked in the dynamics of people want to get their money, but also want to be in positions to do really well. Those franchises over the last couple of years haven't been built to where they're playoff ready, so now a guy can come sign and hope to take them to the next level.
Well, you mentioned James Harden. I'm glad you did because we have him next. He won the MVP award on Monday night at the NBA Awards. Not a surprise to us. However, it seems like a surprise to him. He said that he did not prepare a speech to accept the award. Jalen Rose, if you spend that much time preparing that outfit, how do you not prepare a speech when you know you're going to be the MVP of the NBA?
I like his outfit. He had a little bit of shaft going on, but when I look deeper into the box score, he looked like my main man, roaming around. That's what he looked like to me from Martin, no doubt about it. And he's in Santa Monica, and it looks like it's more of a Midwestern, East Coast, fall-type colors that he's wearing. You would have thought that he'd be wearing something a little bit lighter as it related to the colors. But again, I felt like his look was fly. I liked the shades. I liked the robe-type belt. And I truly loved having Mama on the stage, playing all of the tribute that she deserves for all of the things that she's done for him. It was an amazing tribute. And for that, you don't have to have a speech prepared.
You don't need a speech prepared. Okay. Well, when you said Midwestern, I was with you because he did kind of look like a cow. Russian scientist, doctor, and most importantly, billionaire, Igor Ashabeli, probably saying his name wrong. He had a press conference and he announced that he is now the leader of the space nation Asgardia. Yes, you heard that right. He has decided that he's going to build something called space arcs, where human beings can live in space, and they will live in a place called Asgardia, and he will be the leader. Jalen Rose, one thing people don't know about you, you have secret real estate all over the world. Are you going to buy a space arc and hold some real estate in Asgardia?
Not at all. Brothers and sisters dealt with the bait and switch as it related to coming to America. Y'all ain't getting us to go out of space. Y'all can take that. We're going to wait for a while to make sure that's legitimate. We good. Not going to be able to do it.
I had no idea where you were going to go with this topic, and that was perfect. Moving on. From space, we will go back to Earth. Yesterday in the World Cup, Argentina slipped past Nigeria with a 2-1 win. While no one's talking about that, everyone is talking about the antics of Argentinian legend Diego Maradona, who was really enjoying himself in the suite as he watched the game, and afterwards, he was sort of attended to by paramedics. He said that the paramedics were there because his neck hurt. Jalen Rose, do you believe it was neck pain that was bothering Mr. Maradona?
He clearly didn't have any problems with his fingers because he was waving those, especially the middle ones. But what I will say is, when you've accomplished so very much the way he has, and you get the opportunity to celebrate, I understand that every now and then you're going to go overboard. Mm-hmm. And that's what it sounds like he did in this case. I am not mad at him at all.
You know, I always say that people don't celebrate enough. Diego Maradona definitely tried to make up for it. Finally, this is the worst thing I've ever seen that I almost refuse to believe it is real. In Los Angeles, there is a mural that you can only take a picture of if you have 20,000 verified followers on Instagram. I refuse to believe this is real. It's got to be some sort of like art performance thing. If this is real, this is the most disgusting thing I have seen in a long time. Jalen, do you think this is a real thing that you can only take a picture in front of this mural if you have 20,000 or more Instagram followers?
It's typical of the social media era. I'm not going to say that it's Hollywood, but it just so happened that it's happening out there. But more importantly, we just gave it light on our television show. So now the people are going to be wanting to go take pictures in front of it.
It is Wednesday, which means it is Women's Wednesday here on Jalen and Jacoby, where we celebrate the more intelligent, more responsible, harder working, and generally superior gender of our species, the ladies in our lives and around the world. One of the ways we do so is we take only female voicemails on the show, just like this.
What up, Joe? Happy Women Crush Wednesday. This is Hillary from Alaska. Shout out Reg, and shout out Katie if she happens to be on. So I have a cultural, regional, or universal. I was doing dishes, and I found myself using a sponge. And I was thinking, does everyone use them? I feel like when I go to someone like Jacoby's house, they don't have sponges for some reason, but maybe I just hang out with more of them. So let me know. Have a good day.
I'm floored by this question. I'm absolutely floored. If you're not using a sponge to do the dishes, what do you use? Your hands?
She feel like y'all the Flintstones, like you at the crib washing the dishes with your feet.
Yeah, like we bring them down to the river, just like let them sit in there for a while. Listen, if there is no sponge, I'm not doing the dishes. That's how it works. I can't imagine how you do the dishes. And one thing that I do want to say about the dishes, and I was thinking about this yesterday as I was doing the dishes, I wash the dishes before I put them in the dishwasher way too thoroughly. Way too thoroughly. If this thing is called a dishwasher, why am I spending so much time washing these dishes before I put them in there?
Because all it truly does is rinse them.
It should be called
not clean them, not scrape them.
It should be called a dish rinser.
That's all it is. It's not a washer, it's a rinser.
Well, shut up.
No question about it. Thank you for the call. We appreciate the support. I think that's universal.
Universal. Definitely
not
universal.
Cultural or regional.
Thank you so much for the call. Women Crush Wednesday, we take only female voicemails like this one.
Jalen and Jacoby, what up, though? This is Dr. Amy calling from L.A. on my commute as usual. I love listening to the pod every day. Shout out to the bi-coastal crew. Shout out Reg. I've called several times, but if my voicemail gets played today, then you two can deduce what part is different. Anyhow, I have two questions for you. My first question is a continuation of the Kitchen Confidential with Jalen and Jacoby. My husband and I got married in 2010, and he really, really enjoyed registering for all kinds of things. But he also decided we didn't need to do dishes every day and thought paper plates 100% for every day would be the way to go. And we've now been married for 8 years. Today's actually our anniversary. Shout out to my partner in crime, Matt. But I think about how many dishes we would have saved washing over the past 8 years, but I also think about what a dent we would have made in the environment. So you guys tell me, soft move or boss move, paper plates for every day. My second question is regional, cultural, or I guess individual, personal preference, whatever Jacoby said. So we have traveled a lot, especially to the Caribbean, because my family's Jamaican. My husband's complexion is a little bit more like Jacoby. I'm more like Jalen. And I just want to know, is snorkeling cultural? I mean, sometimes I've seen people who look like me doing it, but most of the times I don't. So you guys let me know. Keep giving the people what they want. Peace.
First of all,
great caller.
That's the exact same swirl that I got. Yep. We're living the same swirl life, Amy. My wife is Jamaican. I obviously look like me. Shout to that swirl.
Shout out.
Shout to Matt. Happy anniversary.
Shout out.
Oh, wait, we've been married the exact same amount of time, too. Maybe that is my wife calling in and using an alias. I'm not even sure.
No, she ain't calling.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to the pod.
Nope.
Is snorkeling cultural?
1,000% unquestionably yes.
Yep.
Really?
No doubt.
Snorkeling's cultural?
Yep.
No doubt.
I guess
no
so,
doubt.
because I look at it, I don't see it like that.
Here's how I want you to see it. When you grow up in an urban environment, where you gonna snorkel at?
Good point. I will also say this is snorkeling's overrated. Every time I go snorkeling, I always get some water inside the tube thing, and then I'm drinking water. Like, I would much rather just put the mask on and just swim around a little bit and come up for air. That snorkel tube does more harm than it does good. Throwing that out there for all the snorkelers in the world. Secondly, and more importantly, everyday paper plates. That's her proposal, or Matt's proposal. Everyday paper plates. Number one, I know that Amy does the cooking and Matt's in charge of dishes, or else he would have never proposed this. Number two, I do have a little bit of a problem with paper plates, and it's not environmentally concerned. My concern is this. Yesterday, my wife made turkey meatballs with cheese in the middle and a little bit of pasta and sauce. It was great. It was fantastic. I had seconds. But if you're eating a meal like that, like a saucy meal, you know how those paper plates can kind of soak up the sauce and it kind of gets a little janky, and then you put your fork against the paper plate, you get a little plate with your food. Like, they are inferior plates, while they may be easier to clean. That's why I would not go everyday paper plates. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
Well, take it from a connoisseur. All right. There are exceptions to every rule. And when you have company or special occasions, of course, you want to bring out the fine dishes.
Of course.
But I need to teach the world, and obviously David Jacoby, something. They make something called sturdy paper plates. So it doesn't matter if you're eating spaghetti and it has sauce. It doesn't matter what type of condiments you're using. That doesn't mean it's going to be soggy necessarily in the plate to where you can't carry it and enjoy your meal. Just got to spend a little more on the plate and spend a lot less time standing in the kitchen watching dishes. So I support this, and again, I appreciate the call, but no doubt about it, paper plates are the way to go. Save your life, time, energy, manpower, standing in front of a sink with the water running, washing dishes, and then putting them in a dense dish rinser, okay? That's not a washer. It's a rinser. Use paper plates. Don't get caught up in the matrix.
So we've got a couple updates. Number one, I didn't believe you, as I normally don't. So I Googled sturdy paper plates, and I'm looking at these paper plates, and there are some solid paper plates out there, because the ones I was thinking about are the ones with the little ruffles on the outside. Those are kind of the Kirkland paper plates. Those are the ones that get soggy. But if you do get, there's coated paper plates that have that kind of like wax coating on them, and there are some paper plates, I won't use the brand name because they don't sponsor the show, but there's heavy duty paper plates. So I think it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You need some high quality paper plates if you're going to go everyday paper plates. And this paper plate thing really touched a nerve with people. Let's listen to my international paper plate caller who's very concerned.
Hello, Jalen. Hello, Jacoby.
This is Lucas from Germany. First things first. So shout out to Reg, great podcast producer, and shout out to my favorite guest host, Katie Nolan. Of course, I always miss Jalen when he's not on, but Katie is really a nice host. So my topic today, I was just listening to pods from you guys from the last days, a little catching up, and I was appalled. I was flabbergasted, as you guys say. Jalen yesterday said he uses paper plates and paper cups if he has no visitors or something else to eat. That's crazy. That's totally unacceptable. That's so respectless against the nature, against the environment. And it doesn't make any sense. Jalen, you have money. You don't have to worry about your money. You can buy the biggest dishwasher in the world. You can buy new porcelain plates every day using so much paper for your plate. It's crazy. It's disgusting, and I'm really disappointed that you think that is an appropriate way to behave. So, so this was, I think I just kept it 100 and something to think about.
Lucas is coming for
Bye-bye.
Lucas is
Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love. Internationally as well. Shout to Katie Nolan, who does do an amazing job filling in for this program.
Shout out.
I appreciate the scolding because I'm never too big to listen to my peoples. And sometimes the level of humility you must have in life, you have to always learn this lesson. Sometimes your critics are right. But in this case, I'm 1,000% right. And let me teach him why. Number one, I shouldn't be having this conversation with him because today's Wednesday and we should only be playing women's voicemails.
Oh, but he was on the paper plates train.
That's one.
Yep. He was on the paper plates train.
Yep. Today's Wednesday. I don't care what he's talking about.
It should
be
paper
about
plate Wednesday. We changed
women.
the theme. We changed the theme. Paper plate Wednesday.
That's one. Number two, I understand that you're an environmentalist and you care about the earth and the ability for this amazing planet to continue to flourish. But there's no different than standing in front of a sink wasting away the water.
Oh,
okay.
Good angle. Good angle, Jalen.
Number two, I had to point this out, it's really important. Time is the issue. And that's why I suggest using the paper plates. And thirdly, it's not a dishwasher, it's a dish rinser. You're standing there and you're getting a scrub and you're doing the bottom of your plates. You're doing the bottom of your cups. Like you're grinding and then you're putting them in the dish rinser.
I don't understand how this works.
In order for them to be clean. And then you warm them up.
So let me say this. Because this got me thinking. He talked about how much money you had and how the paper plates are bad for the environment. It gave me a visual that what do you do with socks and underwear after you wear them? You just throw them away, right? I like the idea that you've got like 1,000 plates in your kitchen, and after you use them, you just throw them out the window and they shatter, and you've just got a gigantic mound of porcelain shards all over your window. That's what you should start doing. You should start treating porcelain plates like paper plates and just throwing them away every time you use them.
If you want me to, next time I'll show you also your alternative to what you should cook with when you put your items in the oven. Those silver tins that are shaped like ovals are clutch. And you know what you do after you use them?
Throw
them away.
Fold them up and throw them away.
And you know what you're doing after you cook? You know what you're doing after you cook? You're eating good and you're standing there for 30 minutes washing dishes. Not gonna be able to do it.
Appreciate the calls. Jalen Rose, one quick Pistons update. Reggie, hit the button. Malik Rose is the Pistons GM. What does that tell you, Mr. Rose? What do you think about the hire?
I ain't mad at it. That's actually a strategic play for the team. In a guy like Malik, we know about his playing career, and I actually got a chance to play with him for a short stint with the Knicks late in my career. But he's been bubbling behind the scenes with the Spurs and the Hawks, paying his dues.
Spurs.
I appreciate that they gave him this opportunity, and I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah, but I feel like if you spend some time in the Spurs organization, then you've got a little bit of the secret sauce. Like Pop might have not given you all the recipes, but he's giving you some of the recipes, and it's a translatable property, as we've learned from some of the other people that came from Pop's coaching tree. I want to thank Hillary, Amy, even Lucas, who snuck in on Women Crush Wednesday because he had a paper plate take. And I just want a brief announcement. Jalen Rose is going to be in Detroit for the next couple days. So we're going to have a couple of guest hosts for Jalen Rose, which is always nice to bring some new energy to the program. And free agency next week, we will not be there with you to take you through all the chaos. We've got an off day. We've got an off week next week. We're preempted. Jalen's been traveling around doing NBA basketball all season long, being on 17 different shows. So a very well-deserved week off of Jalen and Jacoby for Jalen. But you can still catch Jalen on Get Up. They're not letting him off that gig.
Nope. A couple of things. We're not preempted because of how much I work. We're preempted because they got other programs they're putting on and they're taking us off.
I think it's Wimbledon, yeah.
Let's notice that too. Okay. But also I have to do a rest in peace to Joe Jackson. The name has become synonymous, and rightfully so, in entertainment with initially the Jackson 5 and the success and superstardom of a couple of his kids, in particular, Michael, rest in peace, and Janet Jackson. I would be remiss if I didn't give a salute to the family name and to his legacy. I know so many people will look at some of the things that they felt he did that was really rough and was the kind of tough love, kind of mentor, manager, coach, leader for his very talented family who went on to become billionaires all together over and over again. I just want to send a salute to him and say rest in peace.
Yep. We'll be back tomorrow. Why is that?
Done. We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They my little guys. I love them.